Hello, and welcome to what can be called another fireside chat of ours, I suppose. And this time we're going to be chatting with ATTO. We've done some really great work with them recently, and we are looking to talk about that work and a little bit about us. And so I'll hand over to Tom to introduce himself and then talk a little bit about ATTO, and then we'll see where the conversation takes us. Over to you, Tom.
Great. Thanks, Duncan. I appreciate it. My name is Tom Johnson. I'm the product manager at ATTO Technology in Buffalo, New York, and I'm in charge of our Ethernet NICs, our fast frame product line, as well as our software, ATTO 360 networking optimization. Great to be here.
Yeah, that's great. And my name's Duncan. I'm the market development manager at ATTO then, at Tuxera. Proves it's a live recording. And yeah, we're here to talk about Fusion SMB, and how that's worked with the ATTO card. So yeah, can you give us a little bit of background and talk about ATTO itself? You guys have got a long history, and what really makes you feel that makes you different in the market from the cards and the products that you produce?
Yeah, so we're nearly 40 years now. We've been in business. We started in '89, and we make connectivity. We actually started in the making silicon RAM disks back then. And what happened was our bottleneck was the adapters, the host adapters. So we started making our own host adapters, and so we've evolved from back then. We were making SCSI, that evolved into SAS, and then fiber channel, and now Ethernet. And so that's the world that I live in, and making modifying and making the most powerful, highest throughput, lowest latency adapters on the market.
No, cool. I remember days of old supplying UL3Ds and UL4Ds and putting them with external drives and external RAIDs. And I mean, my background is 20 years in media and doing a lot of Mac work, so I know you guys well. And yeah, it's really interesting to see how that's moved along and how that's changed.
Yes, and we've been paying attention to Tuxera and Fusion for a little while now, and we're very, very excited to start working with you and hear more about Fusion.
Yeah, Fusion's interesting, really, because we started Fusion probably in around 2013. We started building Fusion SMB, and we had a very specific requirements to. I mean, the other side of the business is all embedded file systems and all sorts of tools to optimize things like smart meters, and we're in different storage places, we're in different environments, we're on the space station, we're on the Mars rover. We've got some great tool sets, but the enterprise division where we are was producing Fusion SMB, and it started for a particular customer and then grew and grew, and we saw there was a market for it. And we work really closely with Microsoft, so we are an official Microsoft patent licensee. So every time our customers take Fusion SMB, then we can offer the SMB patent from Microsoft to make sure that deployment is completely covered and legal and everything. And we've got our own SMB patents as well. So we really are invested in the protocol.
That's interesting. So, love your performance on Windows, but I noticed recently that you're getting almost 9 gigabytes a second on the macOS.
Yeah.
How are you guys able to do that?
Well, I think it's probably a combination of things. It's definitely a combination of we're here to talk about our relationship with ATTO, and it's definitely a combination of using the ATTO cards because of how you understand the macOS and your profiles and things like that, and ATTO 360 software. So that's part of the puzzle. We're also using the latest generation Mac Pros, so that allows us to put your card directly in the chassis and get huge performance that way. So they're being accessed directly by the macOS. And then there's Fusion SMB itself. So our SMB server is completely multi-threaded. It's very modern technology for modern workflows. So it's a really, really low CPU load. And that means that our multi-channel can produce huge performance. On Windows, if you're using a Rocky client, we can get 11.5 gig a second on a single 100 gig E port. And with the ATTO card on the Mac Pros, we've seen 8.6 and nearly 9 gig a second. And interestingly, that's within Resolve, where you're doing a lot of DPX streams, you're doing reverse playback, and Resolve is very multi-threaded as well, so it really can push that data. But if you run some of the standard DiskMark and DiskBench tools, you don't really see that, which is quite strange. It just doesn't thread it properly.
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone at ATTO was extremely impressed, and I think we talked about this, back in April at NAB, and
Mm.
we've been paying attention to it because I personally have spent 10 years modifying and optimizing our NICs to work better in Windows and Linux, but Mac has always been the most challenging. And from many different perspectives. And here at ATTO, we control what we can control. Our drivers, what the parameters on client operating systems, but there's always a bottleneck. And so the things that we've seen you be able to do with SMB has really gotten the wheels in motion, and it's just we see another challenge, right? So we wanted to partner with Tuxera almost immediately. And everyone here is super excited about what you've been able to do.
Yes, I mean, what do you actually do with the Mac that makes it so special? Because I know you've got 360 in profiles, but I mean, you don't have to give too much secret sauce away, obviously. But what kind of work have you got to do to make these profiles work really well? And how did you get to where you are now with it? It's an interesting story.
Yeah, I mean, so like as I said, when we started from going from SCSI to fiber channel, and we spent a long time in the fiber channel world, and it's very different. It's plug and play. There's things built into that protocol that make it a lot easier for people in the media and entertainment business to stream. With Ethernet, it's a completely different technology. It was built for computer-to-computer transactions back in the 70s, and there's a lot of really good checks and balances, but there are impediments to performance. So what I did when we started running the Fast Frame product line was one of the first things I noticed was that we would get our main support call would be somebody that was buying our car. Let's say at the time it was a 10 gig. We go up to 100 now, but it was 10 back then. And our number one support call was, "Oh, hey, I bought a 10 gig card from you, but I'm getting like half of that in performance." And we'd spend about a week, maybe sometimes 5 to 10 days talking with the customer and say, try this and tweak this. And I immediately saw that as an opportunity for us to kind of automate that whole experience of optimizing, squeezing a little bit more juice out of the NIC, as it were. And that was kind of the seed for 360. And so that evolved into, okay, so we want to make an automatic optimization application. And so we want, from our user's perspective, to hit a button, and then all of the settings that we can apply get automatically set. And so there's a number of parameters with the TCP stack. We look at syscontrol parameters. We look at how the operating system is working. And so we do all those checks, but we realized you can't just set settings and expect the same results every time. It's very nuanced. All right, so we started working with. First thing we did was work with partners, people like Tuxera to create their own special preset profile. But then we also realized that you can't optimize unless you're able to monitor and diagnose. So those are two big pillars within our application 360: is the monitoring and the diagnosis. We call that ATTO Expert AI, and basically it's looking at thousands of metrics and statistics, and we use our prior experience helping our customers. And if we see this metric go up, we give you this advice. We tell you that you should probably do this, and it helps solve bottlenecks kind of instantly so that you could overcome them and get right to work. And that was the general idea of ATTO 360. But like as I said, that there's only so much we could do, and it was great to see companies like Tuxera come in and push us over the edge with SMB, which was another bottleneck that we had, with the macOS.
Yeah, it's interesting because exactly what you're talking about is very familiar to me. And I think one of the comments we get about, we go, "Oh yeah, no, SMB is not very good for Mac, is it?" And so, well, actually, SMB, the protocol is amazing. It's a really, really good protocol. It's very well established. It's in everything. It's been around for a long time. SMB3 has been around since 2013, 2014. It's a great protocol, but how it's deployed makes the difference. Right? And I think that's where we come in, is deploying it in the right way. And because we're multi-threaded and very modern in the way that we can distribute the performance, and we can distribute across clusters and where we put ourselves, it can really make a huge difference. And that means that now, a lot of storage systems, if you're talking about native SAN and things like that, or you've got IBM GPFS systems, they have client software to make them block level, right? Which is fine, which is great, and works really well in the right environments. But if you are an environment where you cannot put that block level client in, and you can't put that software in, but you can use SMB, then we can provide similar block level performance, but over the standard protocol, right? So out of the box networking, out of the box software. In the same way that you don't really need 360 for your ATTO card, they'll work anyway. But actually, if you have it, it makes it so much better. The whole experience is much better. So it's just making sure that we can really deliver what people need in media. And media is such a heavy user. It's chaotic, isn't it?
Right.
You've got people doing stop start. They'll do nothing, hit the space bar, and they need 5 gig a second, and then they do nothing again. So it really stresses the storage, the networking, the switches, the workstations. It's pretty important.
Exactly.
Important. So the way that you guys,
I like what you said. I do like what you said there about SMB it's what we all know and love. Working with file systems. And its block level is it's not the easiest to work with, and it's complicated, and it's very in depth. But the performance is second to none. And for you to be able to bring that experience, the block level experience, to file level users, I think is that's we shouldn't understate that. That's actually a very good point, and I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I've been around for a long, long time. I've installed many a SAN and all sorts of things, and used your cards for that as well. And yeah, the block level experience is really useful for a lot of workflows. It's almost instrumental in some workflows having that block level experience. But when you have a storage provider that can offer both sides of it, and it goes, right, what do you need? Wherever you need it, we can deliver performance now. Particularly on the Mac. Right, you've been able to do it for a number of years on the Windows side, but on the Mac has always been slightly lacking. But again, you need to have a server that supports RDMA for the Windows and full multi-channel for the Mac, and makes the Mac perform this way. And that's crucial for any media company, for anyone wanting to do that. And as much as some people despise Macs, I'm a Mac person, but I don't really care what we use for workflows. But they're the creative machine, and people need to use them comfortably, and stop the frustration of not being able to use that performance. We've seen that. So the profiles are really good, actually. So I mean, what have you kind of got coming up with the profiles? What's your next step with what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that we're announcing today is the Tuxera profile and the next update of our ATTO 360 networking. So yeah, there'll be version 1.05 coming out probably sometime in late September.
Okay.
So right after IBC, we'll be able to get all of our customers working on that. But it's in beta right now, so if you wanted to experience it, you can give us a call and we can set you up with it. But yeah, that's exactly with all of our intent when we're designing and updating 360 is to make life easier for our users. And just like the media and entertainment is a market that we both know really well, and they have very creative users, and Mac excels at that. The user experience is second to none. I myself have converted to a Mac user since working at ATTO in the last 11 years. And you just can't beat it, how easy my life has become so much easier. And that's what we wanted to bring to professional users with 360s, to give that unique, easy experience, but still get the forward-facing technical bleeding edge. And we're doing, I think, especially this partnership really brings the absolute best possible performance and the most bleeding edge throughput to a macOS. I can say with certainty that I've never seen anything perform faster than our profile on a Fusion system.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that, Tom. Actually, it's and it actually, do you know what? It goes down to the engineering and the teams and developers that we have behind us. So they've done such a great job in getting this stuff to perform the way it has on both sides, and that's imperative. What we do, and it's not just media, of course. We're in oil and gas, we're in medical, we're in sort of corporate, we're in finance. Anywhere that you have Macs, and they are everywhere now. So if you have 3D imaging, medical, where they're using Mac Pros and they need that high performance, then we offer that as well alongside your cards. And we look forward to testing even more of your upcoming hardware. I mean, are you allowed to say anything that's coming, or what's up? What's in your pipeline?
Yeah, I mean, so we've been doing a little back and forth on 200 gigs. So that's something that we're really excited about. So we have an adapter that'll go. It's a 200/400. So you can get two full ports of 200 or one port of 400, and the offloads are just advancing. Everything is getting faster and better in the Linux and the Windows world. I mean, we're able to really, especially with RDMA, SMB direct, all those great transport protocols, and we bring that 360 experience along. So we'll also have Windows and Linux profiles, for Fusion. And we bring that whole experience along just to try and make it easier with setting up RDMA transport. It's not the easiest thing. You have to, there are dependencies, and the same concept of the tuning profile that we have with TCP and on the normal Mac and experience, we have that for RDMA. So we have custom installers that load all the dependencies, set the environment for RDMA transport instantly. And so the users it's all about making them do less work and get you set up and being creative almost instantly.
I mean, RDMA is astonishing, really. I mean, of course, it offloads the CPUs, right? So the server doesn't get hit, the client workstation doesn't get hit, the cards do all the work, right? So, we've seen on 100 gig, on a dual connected 100 gig over RDMA, we've got 22.6 gig/second, I think, on 200 gig ports. So it's pretty much about 85 to 90% line speed of the file system.
Really,
I mean, it would be nice if Mac did RDMA. They don't. Maybe they will in the future. Who knows? But until then, we've got the multi-channel stuff, which is still quick enough for most people.
You and me and everybody probably watching this has said this exact same thing, and I think we will get that support one day.
Yeah, it will come at one point. I mean, of course, it's going to offload on the Mac CPU, so it's going to help with the network performance there. But we'll see what happens with that. Maybe it'll become. But until then, we're working closely with those guys and working with you and optimizing and getting really good performance. Mac, I've been a Mac man for a long, long time, and they're a great product, and the Mac Pro is a phenomenal piece of kit, and it's quick, and we can take advantage of that.
Yep, you do the best with what you got, and I can say without certain, the best right now is the ATTO Tuxera combo.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really, really good, and we're looking forward to seeing you at IBC and seeing what the future holds and testing even more of your hardware when it comes through. So we talked a bit about the future, and we've talked about profiles and things like that. From your point of view, what do you see as the next step with ATTO and us, apart from the profile?
Well, profile and getting the whole diagnosis and monitoring aspect, that's just going to explode over the next few years, especially here at ATTO. We are constantly adding things that pitfalls that we experienced, throughout the year. We gather all that data up and we bake it into future releases of 360.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're absolutely looking at beefing up our monitoring and diagnostics. We're also, like I said, 200, 400 on the horizon. And then we also have fiber channel. We have our intelligent bridging products where we have Ethernet to SAS bridges. And we have this great 8100T product that supports tape. And we're bringing LTFS, kind of similar to what we were talking about before with LTFS is bringing that file level kind of experience to your tape back.
Yeah.
We're going to be adding that to some of our products. So yeah, we're just going to keep plugging away and keep moving the goalpost for performance.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, we've got to push it. It's all growing and growing, and there's remote working, of course, and there's codecs and things that can help to bring the bandwidth down. But there are some cases where it's unavoidable. You need that bandwidth. You need to have that raw power, whether you're doing 3D virtualization, virtual production, things like the Sphere, where you need huge throughput. to be able to deliver that, you've still got to have on-premise performance, whether you're creating the VFX and creating all those massive files, or indeed playing them back and using them.
Exactly. Yeah, the Sphere is something else, and we've both been out there and seen the guts of that, and it's you couldn't hit the nail on the head more about performance, and even I've seen it even in production now. I don't see green screens anymore. I see these big 12K ultra realistic with background plates, and just getting those from over to dailies is a challenge. So that's stuff we're looking at. Thunderbolt 5 is something that we're going to be very we're going to have a lot of products being debuted at IBC.
Oh, okay.
I forgot to mention Thunderbolt 5, especially since we're talking about Mac here. You can't really, with what they've been able to do for what our customers really care about is, the bottleneck that Thunderbolt has been. There's really couldn't been able to go. You were always kind of stuck at 2,600 megabytes a second, and you couldn't do anything about it. So that was always like our standard when we were developing our drivers. We got it up to that, and then sure, if you have a Mac Pro, you could go faster. But there was, the most of the market was kind of hamstrung by that Thunderbolt bottleneck. Well, Thunderbolt 5 just obliterates it, doubles it. Even if you're doing Thunderbolt 4 on a Thunderbolt 5 host, you're getting 20% more performance. So that's something we're really excited about. If you have to have a Mac Studio and you need Thunderbolt connectivity, and you will, again, nothing beats Tuxera, ATTO, that profile connected, even if you're on Thunderbolt.
Yeah, the Mac Studio is a great piece of kit. Actually, it's a very powerful piece of equipment. So for those users that can't have the full-blown Mac Pro or don't need cards inside the box, then you've got the Mac Studio and Thunderbolt 5. Certainly for us, it's developing the future of SMB. Where do we go next, and what do we do? And we're going to have some technology previews at IBC. It's probably, I can safely say that. We're talking about some extra bits when we get to the show, which is pretty cool. But for us, the future of SMB is just to make it even more compatible with the client systems, and introducing more and more features, more security, added security. We have got some really cool features now that you can't get from open source alternatives. So we've got RDMA is a clear one. The SMB multi-channel is fully fledged multi-channel. We've got SMB compression, which I'm not sure if you're aware of, but SMB compression is really clever. Effectively, we look at files and we strip out repeated blocks and we strip out data. So when you're transmitting the file down the line, you're only transmitting the data you need, and then we're replacing them on the fly at the other end. So it can dramatically reduce copy time. So if you're using SMB remotely at all, in any way, over a WAN, then you've got that compression. It can really push data a lot faster because it's stripping out the unwanted files, and it's completely on the fly. There's nothing to do on the client end. It's completely automatic.
That's great. Yeah, people, that's really interesting. I'm going to be paying attention to that, especially at IBC, because I want to learn more about that. And that's a common technique to use because there's so much redundancy going across the wire. People don't realize. But if you want to kind of hit the gas pedal, we better make sure that you're going to guarantee that delivery on the other side. So I completely trust you guys, and that is something that I want to learn more about for sure, because that sounds like stuff that we've done over the years to kind of pump up our performance, and little tricks of the trade that you can do to really fly.
Well, if I'm going to do a really shameless plug, not like we're plugging our product already, but if you go to the website and have a look at our blogs, there's a really good blog on SMB compression that shows just how powerful it is. Yeah, do you know what? Actually, Tom, really good to have a chat, and it's great to hear how you've done with your profiles and how you've got there and some of the things you've achieved with that. And we look forward to doing a lot more in the future, and making our mutual customers very happy with all the performance we can deliver.
Thanks. You too, Duncan. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tom. We'll speak to you soon.